Hi, it's me again with Corel Draw Tips and Tricks, and my mathematical guru gave me a really good, I've shown how to make rulers before, but I never really started thinking about using to print out on a normal 8.5 by 11 printer and use them. And then I started thinking about if you angle that, you could actually get a 13-inch ruler. So I made one. Of course, you waste a whole sheet of paper, but you could print these off and cut them out. You wouldn't have to worry about the cut lines on the side, just to make sure you're accurate on the ends. And you could, put 16. So I just thought, I'll just print one out. So this is the same kind of ruler that you're going to use to measure like a round object to get a measurement. I made a video this morning where I mentioned that every time I go to IKEA, I take a couple of their tape rulers, and they work really well. But if you didn't have one, you don't have a IKEA store in your area, you could print your own. So I thought I'd just go over some basic, so I got this to fit very equally a 1/2-inch ruler onto a sheet of 8.5 by 11 paper. So I'm going to go ahead and, we'll keep it 11.5. And let's make a bar. And with our ratio unlocked, let's make it a 1/2 inch by 13 inches. I'm going to go ahead and hit P, put it in the center of the page for no more reason than I just like doing that. And of course, we'd really want to start drawing with a black hairline, but I'm going to just use a white hairline. I do that from time to time. I get the parallel dimension tool. And it's going to print it off and be dead on. I mean, it's going to be the inches, going to be inches. So we're going to take a 2-point line. We're just going to take a line, and there's several ways to do an inch and how many ever measurements you want to use, but have that snap to it, set your guidelines on an inch, and make a duplicate and nudge it over. And then you could always take and use your virtual segment elite key so you have your first inch. But instead of doing all the 16ths and halves individually, we still have a line there, so now I'm going to make my nudge distance 1/2 inch. And I'm going to nudge that line 1/2 inch over. Now we could move it up or down to make it a shorter line, to make it seem like it's the 1/2 inch. And then, you could just keep going and mark the 1/4 inch. Now let's make a 1/4 inch movement with our deal. With our nudge factor, hit the plus key and go to the left, hit the plus key and go to the right. Now you've got your quarter. And we could actually move these up more. Of course, you'd want them the same. And one thing you could do is take the alternate key and swipe through them both and then hit T, and they're all going to be the same height. And then just cut these off here. So we've got our 1/4. Now, I could be going all along the page and do every inch, but I think this is going to save you some time. So now we're going to change the nudge factor to a 1/16 of an inch. So to figure that out, just write in 1/16, and it is 0.063. So we're going to grab another line. Wilford grins, make this line at will and make it black so we can see it. We're going to go ahead and make it a little shorter. Well, we're not going to, just nudge it up there and then go Control D and nudge it over. Now we're going to hit it again, but it doesn't really matter. So we're going to do 16 of these. Sometimes my laptop does that. Then we can take all these and just cut them out and actually take away the first one. I did not draw a second one. I don't know how many times I've done that in my videos. Hit my, and whenever you can't grab anything, you can just grab it like that away. So now you got it marked in 1/16 of an inch. We can actually cut out this one, cut out this one. And what I'm doing, I'm just selecting just the one. Now what you could do is select all these, Control G to group them together. But we need to, Well, let's try this. Let's try moving it 1 plus 1/16 is going to be our nudge factor. So now if we grab all these and Control D and make a duplicate, nope, it didn't work. So let's back up. Maybe I just have to nudge them 1 inch. I just did a video on that country girl. Let's just nudge them 1 inch and see what happens. That, you know, now that I think about it, that's right. I was thinking we have to go to the end. There we go. So Control D. And if you mark these, your 1/16, 2/16, if you're going to mark them in the quarter, half, you would only have to mark them 1 time. Well, I'll tell you back what we need to do is we can take this line now, change Control D and make it 1 inch, and then include it in with these, Control D, and we keep going. Now, if you had them all marked, you'd almost be done. Now, I made a 13-inch ruler because the largest Yeti type cup that I've ever measured only measured 12.5 at the thickest part. And so this would be really good. And then just put your numbers, you know, and numbers are, anybody can put numbers, just type out the letter 1. And you can make them pretty big and put it right there. But when you do it, go right here to center justified. Okay. Now we still got our nudge factor set on 1. Let's Control D. And this is where actually the transformation doctor would probably help you. And the reason I did it for that and center justified it, because now look what happens. We're still center justified, but we go to here and type in 12 and hit enter. It's going to be right on the line. Go here and enter another 1. So that's how quick you could draw a ruler. You know, you really don't need to mark the other things. What you could do, and this is what I would do, is let's, you know, maybe make those lines thinner or thicker. And the way we could have done that is the very start. Take your pick tool and your alternate key. Whoop. Get the pick tool and your alternate key and alternate all 3 those. Well, my main ruler's getting in the way. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go Object, Lock, and lock that outside. Now we can take the alternate key in our pick tool, and nope, I must have locked that. Unlock it. I meant to just to lock this. There we go. Alternate key. Just grab those 3 letters, those 3 markings, and we're going to make them black now, because so we're going to print them. And you could make those just minutely thicker than the 16th line. So we could go like 1 point. That's too much, because we wanted some pretty fine measurements. But for some reason, you know what? I grouped all those together. So let's go here and group and ungroup. That's what I should have done. Now take our alternate key, get those 3. And if you could print in red, why not print them in red? As long as they're, I'm not sure if a hairline will print on a regular printer or not, but you could make them that little bit half thick. And then just duplicate that down and you have you a pretty nice ruler. Anyway, hope that made a little bit of sense, and thank you for watching.